Today, we're going to start off by talking about the Tzaddik, the Rasha, and the Benoni. So traditionally, the Tzaddik is called righteous, the Rasha is wicked, and the Benoni we call the intermediate or maybe the average person. So what is the first thing that you think about when you hear these categories of Tzaddik, of righteous, of Rasha, of wicked, and Benoni, average? So I think, at least in my mind, I'm envisioning this Tzaddik, this righteous person, as someone who does many righteous deeds, and let's say few to no non-righteous deeds. The Rasha, the person who we call the wicked person, does very few good deeds and many evil ones, or maybe no good deeds and only evil ones. And then comes this Benoni, this intermediate or this average. And I would say probably this person is somewhere in the middle, like a 50-50 balance. Like kind of, they do something bad and it balances itself out with the good they do, or they do something good and, every so often they got to make sure to balance it out. They're the 50-50 type. And this is, I would say, a common familiar use of these terms of Tzaddik, meaning righteous, of Rasha, meaning wicked, and Benoni, meaning the intermediate or the average. Even the Talmud uses the terms when it discusses that all of us are judged by God according to our deeds on Rosh Hashanah in the beginning of the new year. Now, let's delve a little deeper. If we look a little deeper, we're going to see that these commonly held definitions are simple. They're superficial meanings. The Tzaddik, the righteous, the Rasha, the wicked, the Benoni, the average, they mean something more comprehensive. So in general, every concept in the Torah can be understood on many levels. And by nature, we constantly seek out the deepest explanation and the innermost understanding. In this sense, the Torah is very similar to a person. We are comprised of a body and a soul, external and internal dimensions. And so too are the levels of the Torah's comprehension. So when we encounter another person, let's say, we know that there's more to that person than just their outer appearances. If we want to strive to know that person, if we want to be able to reach their essence, their core, their inner soul, who they really are within, if we want to reach that person and who that person really is, we have to go beyond the superficial. It's kind of like judging a hand from a glove. I mean, you can see the glove, but there's a hand underneath, and the glove is nothing without the hand. That's what happens. Often we judge the body and not the soul. The body is like the glove to the soul. The same way we have the glove and the hand, the body is just the exterior of the interior of the soul. And the same goes for the Torah. And there are so many levels of explanation. And so that's where we come into Kabbalah, trying to find that deeper, the more authentic, who we are, what's it all about. When we describe a person, let's say with a euphemism, like the person is clever as a fox, does that mean that the person now walks on four legs and they're furry and they have a tail? So I think the same thinking applies when we call someone a tzaddik, when we call someone righteous. I mean, are they truly someone who's perfect indeed and they did nothing wrong? Maybe they're superhuman. So is the words, and words are so powerful, but are the words we're using really describing who a person is? They're actually borrowed ideas, I would say. So the idea of the cunning fox or the righteous tzaddik is in order to describe a particular aspect of an individual's character, and not the fact that this is who they are, like it's an all or nothing, like it's a zero-sum game. There's so much more to a person. We are so much more than just the basic, than just the superficial. And so when we think about who a person is and the term or maybe the moniker that we use to describe that person, there's no way to use one word that describes the entire person, one word that makes up the entire personality of the individual. So Kabbalah talks about this idea of borrowed names. Kabbalah calls it Shem Hamushal. That's S-H-E-M, Shem Hamushal, which is H-A-M-U-S-H-A-L. And a more accurate name would be called Shem Ha'etzem. That's S-H-E-M, and then Ha'etzem is H-A-E-T-Z-E-M. So we have borrowed terms and we have accurate terms to describe or define someone. When we call someone, let's say, a wise person, in Hebrew we'd call them a chacham. When we call someone a chacham and intend it as an accurate description of the essence, of the core, of the soul, of who this person is, then we mean that they are truly a wise person. Now, when we call a person who, let's say, practice medicine, a doctor, is that an accurate term? Is that really who the person is? Or has the person studied for a certain amount of time and have come to a level of completion or a level of mastery over medicine, and as a result, that particular person is now awarded with the term or the moniker doctor? So when we apply the accurate name, tzaddik, righteous, to someone, it means that this person's entire essence is righteous. And that righteousness finds expression in everything they do. And I think based on this, we can start understanding this essence, this core, versus the superficial. The difference between the way the righteous, I'm going to use the Hebrew again, the tzaddik, is commonly used, and its precise definition, according to the way Kabbalah's simple and basic level of interpretation, is that a person is judged only according to their deeds, which means a person is judged only according to that which we can see on the surface. So all they have to do is perform on this basic level, perform more good than not good. Let's say, in Kabbalistic terms, more mitzvot, and we'll talk about what that means, mitzvot, but more mitzvot than not mitzvot, the opposite of mitzvot, and they are considered a tzaddik. But actually, if you look a little deeper, the accurate usage of the title tzaddik means that the person truly is a tzaddik, that their entire essence, that their entire being is a tzaddik. And according to the Torah's deeper and Kabbalah's deeper, more inner level of interpretation, a person is measured by their true nature, which means now we have a completely different scale for judging who is the tzaddik, who is the righteous person, and maybe who is the Benoni, who's the average person. And so what we're going to start doing is exploring these ideas and exploring these people and exploring who is the average. Am I average? Well, maybe up until now, I think I'm average, but am I actually average? But before we can comprehend this new scale and this new way of understanding these terms, we have to start actually progressing on the path of righteousness. We have to know more about the makeup of our inner world, the parts of the psyche and the nature of the soul. So we're going to start taking a look at the structure of the soul. Who is a soul? What is a soul? How is a soul defined? In order to truly understand what's it all about, who we are, and what Kabbalah refers to as the essence. Stay tuned. We'll be back.